Well, 4 months after Superstorm Sandy, hurricane-proof homes will begin to line the New York coast. Laura Cusisto joins me with more. Laura, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome.
So a lot of coastline is rebuilding, especially around New York. Breezy Point is one place that you're focusing on. Tell us what's going on in these communities.
Well, you know, if you go down to the Gulf Coast or coast along the Mississippi, you'll drive along and you'll see these homes that are elevated on stilts. And that's, you know, in the coming months, by the summer, that's what we're going to start to see in New York, which is going to be a big change for all these cute little bungalow communities like Breezy Point.
And that's really because they have to do this in order to get money to rebuild, and also because of insurance premiums will go up, right? If they don't.
There's been sort of a series of changing regulations that have triggered this, but it means that for people who are immediately rebuilding whose homes were destroyed, they're going to have to elevate right now. And for other people over the next couple of years, rules are going to change so that if you don't want to pay $10,000 a year in insurance, you're going to have to really look at raising your home up.
And how bad was the damage in Breezy Point?
The damage in Breezy Point was devastating. If you go there, there are houses that look like they've landed in Kansas or Land of Oz from Kansas, you know, overturned. And there were 150 or a little under 150 homes that were completely destroyed by a fire. So it was really, a lot of ways, the poster child for devastation after Sandy.
And what's sort of been the reaction to homeowners there looking to rebuild and not perhaps wanting to elevate? I mean, is it something that the whole entire community has to do, or is it sort of ad hoc? Somebody may do it and then their neighbor may not do it, so you'll kind of get that effect of one house high and one house low.
I think that's going to be very interesting for sure. It depends on how much damage you sustain. So if you're more than 50% of your home was damaged, that's where you're starting to fall into this category of probably needing to elevate. Other people, it's going to be their choice over time, and so it's really interesting there. So especially in a place like Breezy, where there's one woman I talked to who said, you know, I could reach out and touch my neighbor's porch. Well, that's going to be a really different experience if your neighbor's porch is 7 feet higher.
And so what are these people looking at in terms of insurance going forward? Is it going to change if they choose not to do this? I mean, is that an option for them at this point, or are most people going to have to elevate their homes?
If you choose not to, if you're in that category of people whose home wasn't really destroyed by this storm and you choose not to, your premiums are probably going to go up about $10,000 a year, which is, you know, and up. So which is pretty shocking. Elevating your home probably costs $40,000, $50,000. I mean, these numbers vary wildly, but people are facing some really tough financial decisions right now.
And I know that Breezy Point was actually one of the largest recipients of the money from these loans. So these people are trying to rebuild. A lot of them want to stay there, right? And are just facing these really tough questions as to how much they're going to spend to kind of get in line with all of this, right?
Yeah, I thought that was one of the things that's interesting, and it's really come from the mayor down to individual homeowners. Despite all these costs, despite, I think, the future risk to the city, people don't want to leave, which is very different than previous places where there were disasters.
All right, well, thank you so much for bringing it to us. It's an interesting story, of course, to follow as people recover from Superstorm Sandy. We appreciate it.